Yes, remember last week we addressed, is it unspiritual to be angry? And we discovered that it's not unspiritual, that you can be angry. And Brother Pooh, we're going to explore more of that Ephesians 4:26-27 text later on when we especially deal with the unhealthy anger. But we understand that he says, be angry, sin not. Be angry, sin not. So it's okay to be angry, and the way we can be angry is a healthy anger. And we really start looking at God and really understanding intimate conversations. Go to Psalm 44. What I'd like for us to do is this whole psalm, we really want to look at verses 23, 24. That's when the strong emotional talk begins. But let's exegete this text up until that point. Because the whole question is, if we are angry at God and we have these intimate conversations, the question is, will God still love me? Okay, and the question is, do I have to be justified? And the question is, no, you don't. The answer is, no, you don't. You can be wrong as two left shoes. And God is not worried about if you're right or if you're justified in your argument. He just wants us to bring everything to Him, frustrations and all. Can I simply be vulnerable? Yes. Yes. You can be there to say, hey, I'm hurt. I have this pain. I have this what I cannot figure out. I don't know what's going on. You can shake your fist at God and say, God, I don't deserve this, because the way I was taught is that was taboo. You don't be angry with God. And what we did, we equated anger with questioning God. And so we understand now that you can even question God. What you don't question is God's sovereignty, God's authority. You don't question that He is God. But you do question God. Why did you allow this to happen? For understanding. And God may or may not give you an answer that you can comprehend. But God says it's not about that. It's about if you can just bring everything to me in this intimate conversation. Because what I'm learning is that if we cannot go to God in intimate conversation, then you and I cannot have courageous conversations. Okay? So let's go to Psalm 44. And I want you to see the shift. I want you to see the shift in this text, because when this is a prayer of deliverance, it's basically a group prayer. It's a nation praying. And really, this is just a backdrop. This is like a post-exilic text, which means they are now came out of exile. You know, they was exiled. They was stripped from their homeland, and now it's like after slavery, they're now coming back. It's like reconstruction. They're coming back now to their homeland. It's like, okay, we're trying to figure out now how to be free. What is real liberation? And so listen to what they say. Y'all with me? Psalm 44. It says, we have heard with our ears, O God. Our ancestors have told us what deeds you have performed in their days. So they have been taught. And these days were the days of old. Verse 2. You with your own hand drove out the nations, but with them you planted. You afflicted the peoples, but them you set free. Y'all see that? Verse 3. For not by their own sword did they win the land, nor did their own arm give them victory, but your right hand and your right arm. So again, all victory is attributed to whom? God. Right? Verse 3 continues by saying, and the light of your countenance, for you delighted in them. Verse 4, you are my king. Now this doesn't sound nothing like a complaint. This sounds like a praise, right? You are my king and my God. You command victories for Jacob. And we understand Jacob is not a person. It's what? Nation. Through you, we push down our foes. Through your name, we tread down our assailants. For not in my bow do I trust, right? Nor can my sword save me. But you have saved us from our foes and have put to confusion those who hate us. In God we boasted continually, and we will give thanks to your name forever, Salah. And we understand that Salah is not really a word for it. It's just basically a pause. It's a break. It's basically what I've come to know as a rest. So the psalmist is saying, this group is saying how great God is. And it's like they come to a pause. They come to a rest. And then look at verse number 9. Verse number 9 says, yet, you know, when you have the conjunction yet or but or anything like, something's getting ready to change. Yet you have rejected us and abased us. Y'all see that? And have not gone out with our army. So there's an unexpected movement in this text. Y'all see that? He starts out how good God is, what he's been taught, what they have been taught by their ancestors, and all of a sudden there's an unexpected movement with the yet. Yet you have rejected us. I mean, what happened to this God who was a king and commanded victories for Jacob? Yet you have rejected us and abased us and have not gone out with our armies. You made us, here it is, you made us turn back from the foe, and our enemies have gotten spoiled. Look at verse 11. I want you to circle verse 11, highlight verse 11, because now he is now pointing to the source of the problem. This group is now pointing. Look what they say, verse 11. You have made us like sheep for slaughter, and have scattered us among the nations. Y'all see that? They are now this same God in verses 1 through 8, who has done great deeds, who have commanded, who have through his arm and through his power have given them victory. They now say, you are now the source of our problem. You have made us like sheep for slaughter, and have scattered us among the nations. Verse 12, you have sold your people for a trifle, and demanded no high price for them. You have made us the taunt of our neighbors, and the derision and scorn of those around us. Look at verse 14. You have made us a byword among the nations, a laughing stock among the peoples. Look at it. All day long, my disgrace is before me, and shame has covered my face. In other words, he is saying, you, God, you are the reason for my disgrace and for my shame. This is what this nation is saying. Look at verse 16. At the words of the taunters and revilers, watch this, at the sight of the enemy and avenger. Watch this. Look at verse 17. It's another shift. All this has come upon us. Here's another yet. Here's another yet. Yet we have not forgotten you. Did y'all see that? Y'all saw these shifts? It's like in verse 9 through 16, the nation is fussing. You did this. Can't you see somebody doing their finger like that? You did this, God. And then now all of this has come upon us, yet we have not forgotten you or been false to your covenant. Look at verse 18. Our heart has not turned back, nor have our steps departed from your way. So verse 17, 18, it seems like they were saying, we have gone through all of this suffering and we didn't deserve it. We didn't deserve it. You know why we didn't deserve it? Because yet we have not forgotten you. We've been faithful. So how do you punish faithful people? See, that's the root of our anger if we really want to be honest with it. In our worst moments, we're looking in the mirror and we think, I ain't deserve this. Or, what did I do to deserve this? And so we go down our laundry list of everything that we could have done to deserve this, and we come up with, I didn't deserve this. I mean, think about the mother who, all of a sudden, the bullet hit the baby and kills the baby. We didn't deserve this. Think about the one who's coming home and the drunk driver lives with a scratch under his eye And the man and woman, they died. They didn't deserve it. So the family is now left saying, we didn't deserve this, God. All these crazy people. And you going to let them live? We didn't deserve this. Y'all see it now? Look at verse 19. Yet you have broken us in the haunt of jackals and covered us with deep darkness. If we have forgotten the name of our God or spread out our hands to a strange God, would not God discover this? I mean, if we did you wrong, you would have discovered this, God. Look at verse 21. Again, would not God discover this? For he knows the secrets of the heart. Here goes verse 22. And verse 22 and verse 11, I want you to put that's connected. It's connected. Because when you go, I want you to find somebody, one person, find Romans 8:36. Because of you, we are being killed all day long and accounted as sheep for the slaughter. Now, when you read Romans 8:36, it says something like, as it is written. The quote is from here. Y'all see it? And so, again, you have all of this going on, and now it comes to a tipping point in verses 23 and 24. Because now it becomes strong emotional talk. And what the psalmist is doing, this nation is doing now, they are now crying out for help. That's really what an intimate conversation with God is. It's a healthy anger, but it's really crying out for help. And if we never entertain these intimate conversations, are we really crying out for help? This is what it says in verse 23. Rouse yourself. Why do you sleep, O Lord? This sounds like Job. It sounds like Isaiah. It really sounds like Jeremiah. Awake! Do not cast us off forever. Why do you hide your face? Why do you forget our affliction and oppression? So check this out. What is healthy anger at God? It is saying, God, I don't deserve this. Now, I know all you saved and sanctified and bougie with it. But have you ever woke up one day and discovered there was some stuff you just didn't feel like you deserved? I ain't talking about the bougie side. I don't deserve your love, God. No. I'm talking about you didn't deserve to be hurt. You didn't deserve to be fired. You didn't deserve for your family to turn their back on you. You didn't deserve to lose something. I mean, anybody can testify. Y'all just that saved. I mean, have you ever had that? Okay, now what did you do with it? What did you do with it when you had it? Now, did you take it to the Lord in prayer and tell God, rouse yourself, wake up, don't you see me here? Because watch this, you don't have to be justified. You could be wrong as two left shoes. You might did deserve it. You might not be reaping some stuff. But it's okay. God said, I don't care about you trying to be justified or whether you worried about if you're vulnerable or not. I just need you to bring all that to me. But when you felt like you didn't deserve something, when you was mad and when you was upset that morning, what did you do with it? Did you begin your day by saying, God, rouse yourself. Wake up. Don't you see me? I'm struggling. Or did you get mad at somebody in the house before you left the house? Did you on the phone on the way to work cussing out somebody? Or when you got to work, you told them, I ain't got time today. Go on now. The first one, I'm telling you right now. That's probably what we did. And what happens is now we made ourselves look like a fool and we somehow diminished our witness. Don't you think the reason why God wants us to come to Him like that is because maybe He can get us calmed down before we get to our day?
Because it automatically hit the flesh, and then the Holy Spirit will quicken you into what you have done.
Mm-hmm.
Because it tells us in the Word that there are nothing we feel or spirit that Jesus Christ hadn't already done. That
Right. Right.
But when it first hit this right here,
Right.
it's going to hit this
Right.
first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then the
Yeah.
Spirit will quicken you.
Right.
And put a calmness back on you.
Right. And so you got to understand that when you circle verses 23 and 24, I want you to write in your margins or write in your tablets that this is language of strong emotions. The Greek, not Greek, but the Hebrew here talks about strong emotions. And only God can handle our strong emotions. What you think anger is? It's a strong emotion. You can't handle your strong emotion. The person you go off on cannot handle your strong emotion. The only one who can handle our strong emotions is God. The question is, why are we not using him?
Back in the day,
Yeah, back in the day.
I used to not like to go to God
Mhm.
because I really wanted to let him have it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I knew that if I went to God, I would kind of calm down. I didn't want to calm down.
Oh, that's what it is.
You don't want, because you just don't want to calm down.
Okay.
You want to let him have it.
Yeah.
And
You want that person you want that.
see, if you go to God, you'll get that conviction.
That's right.
When the conviction,
So we don't want the conviction.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
To be honest.
Okay, to be honest, TBH.
So,
Okay.
when you go to God, I'll be like,
Right.
Nope, I'm not gonna tell God because
Right.
He's gonna tell me something I want to hear.
Right.
Right now.
Right.
I think that one thing as believers, I think that might be one thing we do. We're
Okay.
afraid of that conviction. We know God is going to
Right.
harm our spirit,
Right.
but we want to function within our carnal flesh
Mhm.
instead of our spiritual being.
Right. Okay, good. So if we skip this stage, how can we have this stage? We don't, do we? So what we do is we're going to talk about this in unhealthy anger, is that we suppress stuff. So therefore, we never have what's called courageous conversations. It's a term that I've come to love now. And that's when you and I, Deacon, can talk about something that you and I really don't want to deal with. It's kind of like I want to avoid it as long as I can. But it's something that we got to now come to terms with. We got to talk about. That's a courageous conversation that we don't really want to talk about, but we have to talk about. Now, if I skip this step here, I'm never going to get here. So what we do? We play roles, right? We front, right? We never have that conversation with the person that we need to have the conversation with, right? So we just avoid it. We just avoid it. And in the midst of avoiding it, guess what we never have? Peace. Have you ever had a time in a place where you finally had a conversation that you needed to have, and it's like once you had it, it's like the world was lifted off your shoulders? Have you ever had that? That's called peace. It's like, you know, you got to face something, but it's like, got that over with. It's a peace. It'll help you sleep at night. It'll help you breathe. It'll keep your blood pressure down. I'm serious. It will. And so I'm just telling you that if you can have this communication, you can't have this horizontally until we get this thing right vertically. And listen to me, it's healthy. It's healthy to say to God, where are you? I don't deserve this. And let him deal with you to the point to where he reveals the answer. But also he gives you peace. And when you can deal with God and channel your anger through God, then when you communicate, it's not what you say, but you have a better term on how to say it. You know what? You can get somebody told real quick, and they will never know that they was told if you know how to say it.
That's right.
You can get them told. You can tell them all. They didn't know that you were telling them all, but you were so kind with it. You were so gentle with it. But on your way to the meeting or to the conversation, you were telling yourself how you gonna say it. Oh, you were bad. You gonna tell how you gonna say it. And guess what? God knows I know what I'm talking about. It never came out like that. Because before you get there, God will already fix it. So therefore, what you got to do is before you go to somebody, you got to pray, God, let them receive it. Don't you go to nobody and you ain't prayed, God, let them receive it. Because I need you to write this down. When there is reception, there will always be redemption. Write that down. When there's reception, there will always be redemption. And that's the whole thing. When I receive Christ, I'm what? Redeemed. Reception, redemption. When I receive, I'm now redeemed. And so you got to pray. Don't you go over there and talk to nobody until God give you the right time. And you know what? God will let you know the time because he'll bother you so. He'll bother you so until you know that, and there'll be a peace on you that says, I got to go through this. I got to call him. I got to talk to him. But you can't do it until you had a bout with him. Jacob could never talk to Esau until he had an intimate conversation. And you know what? He said, I ain't letting you go. Let me go. The break of I ain't letting you go until you bless me. And then, guess what? He didn't have to say all that stuff he had planned, how he was going to talk to Esau. He didn't have to say all that. Esau just basically embraced him. He was like, really? I did all this? And God had already fixed Esau's heart to be receptive to Jacob's words. Now with me? When this happened, then we can be honest. We can have forgiveness. We can have love. We can have righteousness. And so we can be righteous in our communication or actions. We can have love in our actions. We can have forgiveness, and we can have honesty. So check this. You cannot get to honesty. We can never get to forgiveness. We can never get to love. We can never be right in our behavior if we don't go through these channels here. Okay? And that's why we have come up with terms such as fronting, two-face. That's why we say that, because we can never get to this bottom layer. Why? Because we have not yet dealt with the structure. Okay? And when you get the structure firmly and the foundation firmly structured and settled, then guess what we can do? We can get to being honest. You can talk to somebody, even in your conversation, say, I don't agree with you, I just don't like you. Now, it's always a way to say I don't like you. We know how to say that. But I'm talking about saying I don't like you in a redemptive way. Okay? Can we honestly say that to people? Because, you got to love everybody. But why are you lying to yourself? There's some folk you just can't stand.
Because you're not saying you can love that person but not love their ways and what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, how do you want to fix it? But I want to be honest with you and say, I got a real problem with you. And I think that once we do that, we break the shackles. Now we begin to work toward a means of how can we have a better relationship with one another. Or are we going to still come here every Wednesday and every Sunday in front? But we're going to say amen on the side, say amen on the side, but I can't deal with you in the middle. Really? Come on, enough is enough. But I got to be really honest and say, I just don't like the way you treat people. You treat people like, dog, you think you all that. Now, God need to tell you how to say that.
That's right.
Because when I look at you or deal with you, I shouldn't have a kind of feeling about me like I really don't want to deal with you. And check this out. Even though you may be honest and God sends you, check this out. Even though there's going to be some folk that God's going to turn their heart hard and they're not going to receive it. And I believe God would do that to let you know that it's time to move on. Because there's some people that I'm trying to invite myself in their life and they don't want me there.
That's right. That's right.
That's right, Mom? So they trying to, and you got to understand, and what we've been doing so long, we've been knocking on the door and they won't let us in. We really want to be their friend. We really want to be nice to them. We really want to help. But they don't want us in their life, and that's fine. And it don't have to be relationship like man, female. It can be just relationship, friends. It can be family. There's some family members that you're trying yourself just to please them and get in their life. And you just want them to know just to love you as their cousin or auntie or grandma. They don't want you. So what you got to learn how to do is what the text says when he said after 70. You got to learn when they close the door in your face, shake the dust off your feet and keep it moving. So there'll be some times where God will send you to people And God would go before you and harden their heart. See, there could not be a release from Egypt until Pharaoh's heart was hard. So sometimes God got to harden folks' heart to release you. Y'all better catch that. You better catch that. Sometimes we so hard-headed, we keep going back. Keep going out. They got to hurt us over and over and over and over and over. The heart got to be so hard before we understand we got release papers.
Because everybody you come in contact, they go through this.
No. And we got to learn how to let them go. And it's okay. What this honesty would do and what forgiveness would do is release them while you are releasing yourself.
That's right.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Because everybody don't supposed to recognize you if they're not where you are. And you will not always be on the same level spiritually. But again, you don't need nobody with you or trying to fit in somebody's ideal life if God says move on. Y'all with me? Yes. Yeah. It does. In other words, I couldn't change the person to make them accept me. Yeah. Why don't they accept me? And you know it's hard, especially if you have a mama or you have a daddy or you have a close family relative that you just don't understand. Why won't they accept me? You know, sooner or later you got to realize you've been trying to be accepted for 10 years and they still hadn't accepted you. God is telling you, I have somebody to accept you. But the reason why you won't receive that acceptance is because you're still knocking at that door. There's somebody to accept you if you move your focus off of that one that does not want to accept you. You know the story about the man who was on top of the roof and it was flooded. Helicopter came, boat came, and another like little canoe or whatever came. Well, he died. Hard here. He died. Drowned. Got to heaven. Ask. Why you send no help? We know the story. Well, I sent the helicopter, sent the canoe, sent the boat, right? There's certain things God is sending to us, but we're so focused on being accepted in somebody's life that we are missing the rescue. We are missing the release. We are missing the deliverance. We are missing happiness. Y'all with me? And so that's healthy anger. That's healthy. And it's all right to be angry. Get with God. It's all right to be angry with other people, but you got to have courageous conversation. You got to deal with that so we can get to honesty, forgiveness, love, and the right living. So that's healthy anger. But then what we do, we move now to unhealthy anger. Go back with me to Ephesians 4. Ephesians 4. Any questions on healthy anger as we turn it? Ephesians 4, 26, 27. It's right there. It's right there in black and white. Be angry, but do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your anger. Y'all see that? Do not let the sun go down on your anger. It's really, the word here is, when you look at do not allow the anger to control us, what he's saying is when you do not sin, do not allow the anger to control us. Always be in control of the anger. That's healthy, okay? That's healthy. And the word here is paragismos. Everybody say paragismos. Paragismos. The root word is orge. It's orge here. And orge simply means wrath, okay? But when he used the word here, he's saying, do not let the sun go down on your paragismos. What he's saying is, this whole word means to swell and to rise from a settled position. So he says, don't let the anger control you, because if the anger controls you, what happens is the sun goes down on your wrath And the parogismos is what you have had for 20 years, maybe 5 years, maybe 2 days. And what that has done now, the steam of your anger, what it is doing now, it is settling. I was reading and researching, an expert says that it takes between 7 to 9 years typically for a new house to settle. Other experts says it may take longer than that, because you may be in a house 20, 30 years old and you walk and you can hear something, it's still settling. It's based on the soil that the house is built upon and how strong the foundation is. And so whether it's 7 to 8 years to take for the house to settle, or if it's 20 to 30 years for the house to completely settle, the key word here is time. Time. If I don't get to God and get this out of me, and then talk to you about it, and be honest, and forgive, what happens is, over time, it settles. It settles. I'm a fan now of that. You got water, then you have those artificial flavors, and you put it in there, right? Well, what I've learned is that when you put it in there, you got to immediately shake it, and what it does, it gives you the full effect of the flavor. But if you pour it in there, and even though the water would become the tint of the color, the contents will settle at the bottom. So when you drink it, it won't taste as good. See, what happens is, a lot of people say, I forgive you, but the only thing you got is the tint of forgiveness. But really, you don't have no content of the flavor, because it has settled. And when things settle over time, it's only going to take that one instant. And what has settled will begin to swell and rise and explode. That's what the text says. The text says, don't let it settle and swell. Don't let it rise to a point where it comes out. Because watch this. What happens is, somebody says, how in the world could that man kill? I'm not talking about the situation in Shelby. I'm just saying anything. How in the world could that man kill that baby? That man strangled that baby. How in the world could that man do that? Well, could it have been that as he was growing up, his mama nor his daddy, no one in the family really loved him like that, and he fought for their love? And there was an anger there, because it's like nobody ever loved him, especially they didn't love him like they loved his brothers and his sisters. So it began to now settle. It settled for a long time. Then he went off to school and college, or maybe he just went after high school, and he found the love of his life, his dreams, and they fell madly in love, right? And so she gave him all the attention, and finally he was getting attention. He was getting attention that his mom and daddy never gave him. But then she got pregnant and had a baby. Now she never pays him no attention. The baby gets all the attention. Now I need you to understand something, because if we don't get rid of this anger, it settles, right? It's settled. So you got all these years, it's settled. And all of a sudden, he heard that baby crying one day, and he goes in there, strangling, kills the baby, okay? That's the whole end of the story. But I need you to look at verse 27, because now I see how this thing plays out. He says, and do not make room for the devil. Because what happens is, remember, if this thing settles on a foundation, it's already there for the devil to walk in and just start plotting tricks. So remember, all these years it already settled in him, Dennis. And that day, he heard that baby cry many times, but that day when that baby was crying, the devil now had room. He says, look, if that baby would stop crying, you would have her attention. Why don't you go ahead and kill it? If you kill the baby, she'll be all yours. Kill it and hide it. Oh God, I know it's kind of crazy, but I'm trying to tell you what the devil do. He plays with this mind. But you got to understand, it was already set up for him. It was already settled for him to come into the room. Y'all with me? And so he goes in there, he takes the tip from the devil, the scheme, the trick, and he kills the baby. You got to understand, the devil does nothing until we have prepared for him to have room. Y'all better hear me. Anger, if it's not dealt with, it prepares a room for the devil. That's why it's not an incident where it says be angry, healthy, do not sin, be in control of it. Do not let your sun go down. Don't let it rise. Don't let it swell and then rise up. Look at verse 27. And do not make room for the devil. Because if you don't deal with this anger, guess what's going to happen? Room going to be made for the devil. So how you make room, Pastor? It's called generational. That's how. It's generational. What's generation? Old family wounds transferred. You don't like them because your mama them told you to stay away from them. You never got to talk to them. You never got to meet them. You just know that you don't supposed to like them. Y'all first cousins. Y'all with me? And if they say something to you, y'all got me? It's a settling. And that's why it jumped off at the cookout or the family reunion or when y'all was over grandma's house. That's why it jumped out. And all of a sudden you heard all that racking. They was fighting up there. Why? Because it had settled. And you had already said, if they come over here, I'll tell you right now, if they come over here. Now that's grandma's house. Why you gonna mess up grandma's house? If they come over here, I'm trying to tell you, it already said, I told them not to be over here when I'm over here. That's grandma's house. Y'all feel me? And it just happened to be that night they came. They saw each other. And something happened. Something was said. And then guess what? Bam, it jumped off. How did it jump off? Because the enemy says, there she is. If they say something to you, you better bust them in the mouth. That's what the enemy said. You made room for them. Talk to me.
I had an experience when I was 14 years old.
Uh-huh.
There's a man owned the store. That
Mhm.
man was important at the store. Get 3 eggs, 10 cent worth of beans.
Mm-hmm.
And the man was supposed to be making cents.
Right.
He didn't.
Right.
So when I got home, I told my dad what had happened.
Uh-huh.
And he said, you have to respect him. You can't call him a lie. I said, but you didn't give him, so went to the store.
Right.
I didn't get a whooping, I got a knockout.
Right.
I did beat
Okay. Beat down. Uh-huh.
Okay, later years, like
Right.
27 years later,
Right.
I was at the nursing home.
Right.
This man came in as a patient.
Wow.
And I addressed him.
Uh-huh.
So the whirlpool was acting up.
Right.
And so that was my duty to do that.
Right.
Because a lot of them had a fear.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, now why am I only doing this week?
Right.
So he had to go to the whirlpool.
Right.
And if you didn't hit this thing fast 3 times,
Uh-huh.
they would go under.
Right.
And so, I'm keeping honest before God, because that's where I got my business.
Yeah. Be honest before God.
Because I thought not to hit that button.
Yeah.
I'm being real. Because if I had not been saved, he went up.
That's right.
So I have a flashback.
Yeah.
But because I had got saved,
Yeah.
I had a relationship with God, I can do it. But
That's on the category. You were suppressing that thing. And
the
yeah.
next week,
Uh-huh.
I was talking to this man,
Yeah.
and he asked me, I reminded him
Yeah.
of what had happened, and he asked me to forgive him.
Wow.
He asked my dad to forgive him.
Wow.
My dad had been dead 40
Wow. Yeah. Again, it can be transferred. You're right on it. But and it could be, and again, it could be passed on that way, generational. And you've been raised a certain way, closed-minded, and so therefore you angry at people, and you don't know why you angry at them.
I didn't hear about none of this.
Right. You just angry at people, don't know why, and we never talked to God about it. We never had a courageous conversation with them, and therefore we never are honest. So the unhealthy anger is generational. Next is self-inflicted. We beat up ourselves. We're never good enough. We're not smart enough. We're not cute enough. We never can fit somebody's ideal mold. We never fit in the box. I mean, that's all we do is just beat ourselves up because of somebody else's ideal of us. And so, because we have never expressed it to God, we're angry at us, you know, and when we start thinking like, if I would never be here, then, you know, life would be better. We start thinking crazy stuff. Why? Because there's an anger in us that has never been addressed. And so we beat ourselves up over and over. We come to church and smile, but we're really inside. We're fragile. We're beating ourselves up. That's unhealthy, y'all. That's unhealthy. Suppression is when you suppress stuff for so long. And that's why I say be careful for folk who quiet. You know, folk who quiet don't mess with them. You know, the ones who've been bullied all their lives. The one who everybody talk junk about. I don't want to be there when that joker flip. I pray he got Jesus. But you got to be careful of people who quiet, who's always been picked on. And you got to understand that somebody in this room, you may have been the one who's been bullied, always picked on. Everybody laugh at you. It's suppression. It's suppression. So you have a lot of people, again, that's a mental illness. That contributes to a mental illness. Suppression. And then you have this thing now, new day, 21st century. It used to be meet me downstairs. We're going to put the dukes up. Now we fight through words, text, social media. Oh, can't we go off? We can go off. I've seen like just be gone, doc. That's good. Great. I mean, just be going. But again, even when you look at social media now, you have people who just can talk junk. Can't spell a lick. I'm like, at least before you hit send, go back and proofread. Can't spell a lick, then, but they just going. Talking junk. I say, okay, what is this? Oh, that's what they meant to say. Okay. And so we hide behind words. That's another thing of unhealthy anger. We don't do face to face. No, they don't spell out words. It's all shortcut, LOL, TBH, and all that stuff. And some of the stuff I gotta go up and look at the slang acronym. That you just Google slang acronym, and it show you everything. Because I'm like, what in the world this one mean? Oh, okay, that's what that means. You don't know. I mean, they got everything now. Everything, you just make up your own stuff. Like DC4L. You know, I don't know what that means, but you can make your own stuff up now. Yeah. Oh Lord, bring her back. Bring her back. Don't take her back, God. Bring her back. Bring her back, God. Bring her back. I think it's Dallas Cowboys for life. This way, DC4L. Okay. So it's okay. All right, Rude. It's okay to be angry. Everybody say it's okay to be angry. But make sure your anger is healthy. Healthy, okay? Any questions on this? Anything as I was talking that may have came up? This may have something you want to share. Anything? Everybody? Yes, ma'am.
I remember back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
and my grandmother would give me the fight and
Mm-hmm. That's it. Yeah. Yeah. Everybody. And that's what she was doing. She was biblical. She's right there on, don't you lay down, honey, and be angry. Now, how many times, now, here again, how many times have we laid down and were still angry? How many times have we laid down and still angry? I think all of you can say all the time. And woke up angry. Now, how do we get better, saints? How do we get better? How we get better is when you get anger, go to God first. God, what's up? And then you got to get this thing released to God. And even if you can't go in deep conversations, and again, God may not release you to go to, but at least I believe that if you can get with God and just release this, God will show you the opportune time to deal with the person or whatever. And it may just be you angry at yourself. It don't have to be another person involved. You just be angry about a situation. Okay? But we got to deal with it. But we just so hard-headed. We suppress it. I'm all right. Suppress it. Yes, ma'am.
A lot of times I wouldn't listen before.
Yeah.
I talk about stuff, but a lot of times I wouldn't deal with issues because I wanted to keep the peace.
Right.
But
Oh, okay.
then
I got you.
I'm not keeping peace.
Nope.
I was really making the
There you go. Because avoidance. We was avoiding it. And you know, avoidance is in some ways negative. And the more you avoid stuff, the more people can make up their own assumptions. You know, when you don't talk about it, people make it. You need to talk about it. The longer we don't talk about it, and we think everything cool, it's not cool. And then watch this. When we finally talk about it, guess what? We'll be saying the same thing. We were like, God, I had that same thing on my mind. Oh, you was thinking about that way too? Yeah, I think about that way too. We all think about it the same way. We just don't talk about it because we want to keep the peace. Yes, sir. Yeah. 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 Right. Right.
And you know, when you grow up,
right.
You ain't careful.
Yeah.
You ain't jump off anything.
Right.
So you have to really be careful.
Yeah.
A long time.
Yeah.
You from experience.
Yeah.
It's a long time when you got that hot temperature.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It will. That's will. Yeah. He will. And that's why that's when you got to go to him and say, God, I don't need to have this. Right. 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 Anything. Exactly. And that goes with, I think that goes either with the fruit of self-control. Yeah, that's the fruit of self-control. I mean, Lord, help me to have self-control over me, over the way because again, we can't control people, but we can control the way we respond and react. Yeah, that's the self-control that we got to have, that fruit of the Spirit. You good? Any other questions? Any other comments? We got 7 minutes. I don't want to go. Yes.
85% of the people I work with are former North Shelby students.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Trust me, when I get home, I am so my mind.
Yeah. But
I have to go home and get me a few minutes by
right.
myself.
You have to. USA. And you know what? We got to learn how to take 15 minutes. I want you to write this down. Write this down. Write this down. Take 15 minutes. Or say take 15. Just write down take 15. Take 15. I've learned this. I even shared some with the class at Gardner Webb that you got to learn not only just ministers, but we got to learn how to take 15. I don't know wherever in your day, but you got to learn how to take 15. Just take 15. Which means when you feel yourself getting wound up and getting just like frustrated, you need to turn everything off. There's not time to go scroll down Facebook. There ain't the time to go call somebody, text somebody. There ain't time to surf the internet. You need to turn everything off, get to your quiet place, and take you 15 minutes. Do nothing. Bring yourself back. You can call it USA, whatever you want to call it. You got to get to a place and get you 15. Take you 15 minutes. Chill out. That can be in the middle of the day, because again, a lot of us when you deal with children, when you deal with the mental handicap, and let me tell you, it takes when you deal with people with special needs. And you know what? They are such the most precious babies and people alive. I didn't realize that when I was ignorant, when I used to pick at them. But I'm just being honest. Y'all picked at them too. And so my thing is, when I began to grow up and understand those special needs babies, they are so precious, and it takes special people to deal with them. And they didn't ask to be born that way, but they are so precious. They are so precious. So I commend you and anybody else who works with those special needs babies, and even sometimes our babies who ain't special needs, you think that they, you can get a check for them, and so yeah. Yeah, exactly. But this is what we had, y'all. As we embrace open wombs, as we open the old wombs, as we embrace the fear of judgment, embrace the fear of intimacy. We just talked about fear of anger. It's okay to be angry. Just know that you got to operate in healthy anger. We're going to turn the page now and look at embracing the fear of loss, because all of us somewhere has lost someone or something. And so how do we embrace this fear of loss? Here it is. We cannot escape change and loss. Loss and change. This is what I want us to concentrate on. Weeping may endure for the night, but joy comes with the morning. Now, here's the deal. I think somewhere in this, between after the T and the comma, oftentimes we get stuck, if we're going to be real with it. I don't care what type of loss it is. It can be a death. It can be a relationship. It can be a loss of a job. It can be loss of a limb. It can be loss of eyesight. It can be loss of whatever. But when you lose something, there's a change that you got to now begin to deal with. So now I think all of us, somewhere, when you have a loss of some type, we get stuck right in this area. We know the joy coming, but it seems so far apart. And so what I want us to do as we go home tonight, and I want us to come back, and I want us to, and again, you don't have to share anything too intimate, but I want you to think about your losses. Say the past 5 years, your losses. And I want you to talk about your losses and think about your losses. You don't have to open up here unless you just want to. But I want you this week to really begin to look at your losses and look at those losses that challenge you and look at the losses that were necessary. Because we do have losses that are necessary. But then we do have losses that are very challenging. And especially to those who have lost loved ones through death. I want you to hear me and hear me clearly. There's no timetable for that. You don't get over that. And Lord, forgive the ignorant person who says it's time to move on and get over it. And that's when you want to slap them, but you got to hold yourself. But again, your losses of a dear loved one and anyone of that nature that was challenging, the thing is now, how do I deal with that and still live life? And is it all right to have a moment? Yes, it's all right to have many moments. It's all right to just break down and just, I can't deal today. It's all right to say, today I'm checking out. I see you when I get back. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But I want you to really, really begin to look at your losses and your challenging losses and those that were necessary. And I want you to listen to and as you do that, I want you to read this scripture over and over. Weeping may endure for the night. Now, there's not a timetable until you get to the but joy. Just know the joy is coming, but there's no timetable. Y'all got me? So I want y'all to look at that. Amen?